In this video, I'm going to show you how to improve your third ball attacks. What do I mean by third ball attack? This is where you serve, your opponent returns, and then you attack the next ball. Sometimes your attack might be a winner, but not necessarily. Basically, it's your opportunity to put your opponent under pressure and take control of the rally. So let's talk about how you get good at doing third ball attacks. The first thing I always teach the players I coach is that you should always expect your serve to be returned. Now some players, especially if they have strong serves, develop a habit of serving and hoping that their opponent will make a mistake. So they serve and they watch and they hope. Now sometimes their opponent will miss. For you, the serve was good, cheap point. But other times, they serve and they watch and they hope, but oh no! Their opponent has returned their serve and they're not ready, they're not prepared. They were too busy watching and hoping that their opponent would miss. So they can't take advantage of what may have been a perfectly predictable and attackable return of serve. So the first step at getting good at third ball attacks is expecting your serve to be returned. If your serve isn't returned, well, that's a bonus. But you were ready anyway. Next, you have to think about this. If your serve is returned, how is it likely to be returned? This will depend on a few things. What spin are you putting on the serve? So if you do a backspin or a side backspin serve, it's often returned with backspin. A topspin serve or a side topspin serve is most likely to be returned with topspin. Consider also the direction of your serve. So where on the table have you served to? As a general guide, and this is general, doesn't work out every time like this, but as a general guide, when you serve cross court, the ball is often returned straight back to you cross court. When you serve in the middle, the ball is often returned in a more central zone. If you serve down the line, the ball is often returned in this direction. You also have to consider your opponent. One opponent may always return your backspin serves with a push. Another opponent may always return your backspin serves with a flick or a loop. So you're starting to build up this picture of how your serve is likely to be returned depending on what spin you put on the serve, where you serve to, and who your opponent is. When you have a good understanding of how your serves are likely to be returned, you can begin to think through your attacking options. So let me give you an example. I'm going to do a long side backspin serve. Now my opponent is Daniel. I've played Daniel lots of times before. I know if I do a long side backspin serve to his backhand, he's going to attack it. He's not going to blast the ball, he's just going to get a good controlled topspin contact. So I'm going to get a topspin ball back. Now as I'm serving cross court, the ball is most likely to return straight back to me to my backhand side. And as the serve is long, the return is more likely to be deep rather than short. So I'm expecting the ball to be returned with topspin, I'm expecting the ball to be returned to my backhand side, and I'm expecting the ball to be returned a little bit deeper. So if I want to attack Daniel's return, I have a couple of options. I could serve, turn, and do a backhand topspin. Or I could serve, step around, and play a forehand topspin. Now, I like to attack with my forehand, so that's what I'm going to mentally prepare myself for. So before I serve, I start the visualization process. Okay, bounce the ball a couple of times. I'm thinking through the serve I'm going to do, where I'm going to serve to, how my opponent is likely to return it, where I need to position myself after the serve, and what attack I'm going to do. The final part I want to talk about is the placement of your third ball attacks. As I've mentioned in other videos, you want to try and avoid your attacks landing short in the middle of the table. These are the areas which is easiest for your opponent to block or to counterattack. So you want to try and get your attacks closer to the lines, try to get them a bit deeper or a bit wider. So aiming your attacks for the corners, or trying to get your attacks deep into your opponent's crossover area, or getting something out wide, they're going to be much more effective. So as you go through your third ball attacks, really try to make placement the focus of what you're doing. Okay? Now sometimes as you go for that good placement, you're going to hit a winner, which is great, fantastic. Other times your opponent's going to be able to return your attack, but if you get good placement, you're more likely to take control of the rally. Players who are good at third ball attacks, they don't just attack the easy balls, they can also attack the good returns as well, as they have a really good understanding of how the ball is likely to be returned. Now this is some advantage to have. So even if your opponent does return your serve well, you can still get in good third ball attack. So this is going to help you win a lot more points. So to recap, you're going to expect your serve to be returned, you're going to think through how the ball is likely to be returned, you're going to think through how you want to attack the third ball, and then you're going to work on getting a good placement on the third ball attack. Right, okay, so I want you to give it a go. Practice these third ball attacks and see if you can make some improvement with how you attack the third ball. I hope you found this video useful. For more table tennis tips, please visit my website www.tabletenniscoach.me.uk.